The Midwest supporting, bruiser loving, positivity spreading, world's most dangerous podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty as he supports and promotes Midwest pro wrestling. Keep on growing with the Midwest Express. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
Greetings and welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking by our side through this rough patch we're going through. I'm telling you what, I'm telling you, I think I truly jinxed myself when a few weeks ago when we did the anniversary show, I kind of bragged a little that we put one out consistently in 2017 every week, very little delay. We were on top of it. I kind of bragged. I kind of patted myself on the back, and then now 2018 is just kicking me in the rear. I'm having some equipment issues with my laptop, just all sorts of things, crazy stuff. I'm trying to find workarounds to keep things going, but it's goofy. But thanks for staying with us. Thanks for all your support online. Everything I've posted is being shared, lots of comments, lots of feedback, lots of discussions. That's what I like to see. I like to see activity within the Midwest Express, out there. All of you great fans supporting the Dave Dynasty Show, supporting Midwest wrestling past and present. That's what it's all about. That's why we do what we do. We will get back on track. I promise. Wrestler's honor. I don't know how well that is, how much that word's worth. But anyway, we have a good show today. As we always do when I can get one out, right? Of course, we're joined by Mance Warner with a little wisdom today. Referee Man Bun with his official's decision. We have a great interview with Impact superstar and Midwest stalwart Kongo Kong. A good interview there. And yeah, that's it, right? That's what we're doing to get back on track. But right now, before we dive into all that, let's take a little pause here. Let's listen to some classic Midwest audio. We like to do this. We like to find some old Midwest promos, etc. Get them out there. Let them be heard. I try to clean them up a little bit and make them sound good, just so you guys can experience that, right? We like to make sure we support that history, and we're going to do it today. We got a great little in-ring promo that was done by Ox Baker, former WWA champion and a huge superstar. One of the guys with one of the best looks in the business of all time. Scary looking dude. But here's a little classic Midwest audio from Ox Baker, so check this out.
I didn't come here to make friends. I didn't come here to kiss babies. I came here to show you the greatest wrestling machine in the world today. And you people have got to believe it is Ox Baker, because I believe it's Ox Baker. Sam here believes it's Ox Baker, and every person in that audience knows. Did you see the way that cowboy? Ladies and gentlemen, I did you a favor. He's run his last race. He's roped his last horse, and now the only thing he can do is go in the backyard and milk a few cows, because he don't belong in wrestling. He doesn't belong in the same ring with Ox Baker. Do you agree with that, Sam?
I do not agree with it. I do not believe that you're the greatest, because your victory was not a clear-cut victory. Remember that. And you know the stipulation is that he will have a rematch, and we have a rematch. Our next event here will be on August 31st at the Expo Center, and you will give this man a rematch, and I'm sure he'll win that title again.
All I can tell you people is, if Cowboy Ellis, if he wants to step in the ring again with me, if he wants to feel this elbow upside of his head, if he wants to feel his nose being smashed, if he wants the blood to run down his head, of course, I am a wrestling champion. I am a wrestling machine. And I don't care if it's Captain Kangaroo or Bob Ellis or any of them clowns. All they have to do is step in this circle with Ox Baker. I am going to order right now, myself personally, an ambulance to be out here back, because I can promise you people, the next time that I step in a ring with Cowboy Bob Ellis, he's going to need an ambulance. And if you get in my way, Sam, you're going to need an ambulance also. What do you think of that?
I think, Ox, I believe, and the fans believe, that Cowboy Bob Ellis is a far superior wrestler to you.
Do you see that, Sam?
Your victory was a fluke.
You see them fans out there? They hate me. I disgust them. They do not like Ox Baker. As I told you before, when the people don't like me, when the mothers start writing in that they don't want their children to watch me, then I know the fabulous Ox Baker is getting his job done. And I can only tell you right now, don't bring your autographs up here. Don't start any fan clubs. Don't do anything for Ox Baker, but watch me beat these people up in the middle of the ring. Beat these people up. Hurt them. I love to hurt people. I love to hear the screaming, the yelling as they lay there in front of me, and I can beat on them and beat on them and beat on them and beat on them.
There you have it, that classic audio. Ox Baker, one of the greats of all time, one of the greatest WWA champions of all time. Man, I miss him. Right? He's one of those guys that I wish I could interview on the show. There's a huge list of guys like that, right? You know, that I wish were still around that could tell their stories. So we remember this way, right? We remember with the audio. We remember with other people telling their stories and their memories. And that's, part of what we do here. So, yeah, let's pause for a moment. Kick it over to referee Man Bun for his decision. And then after that, we'll take a break. And after that, we'll have the interview with Kongo Kong. So stick around and check out official's decision with referee Man Bun.
1, 2, 3!
It's my man bun.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another edition of Official's Decision with referee Man Bun. I am referee Sean O'Brien, also known as referee Man Bun. Just want to start the show off by saying it's a really, really great time to be an IWA Mid-South fan or just a pro wrestling fan in general. Independent wrestling is thriving right now, and there's a lot of really, really awesome names out here that's killing it. And we were able to see quite a few of those names this past weekend here at IWA Mid-South. So we had 2 shows this week, one on Thursday and one on Saturday. On Thursday, I was your only referee, hashtag IronmanRef. Let's go ahead and get right on to the action. Calvin Tankman, the big, mean, nasty Calvin Tankman, was finally able to break his losing streak in a 3-way scramble. We also had a tag team match between Trey Miguel and Myron Reed, where they defeated Sage Phillips and Cole Radrick. Anytime those 4 are in the ring together, it's always a blast to watch, so definitely check that one out. Eric Wayne got the best of Marco Stunt, although he showed quite a bit of heart. He just wasn't able to get the best of Eric. The Amazing Maria won by disqualification over Dale Patricks after an interference from his buddy Ace Perry. Ace Perry and Dale decided that they were going to try and jump Maria afterwards, and out came Jake Chris for the save. And that led us right on into our next match between Jake and Ace Perry. Jake ended up getting the best of Ace, of course, with a backslide. We also had Larry D and AJ Gray going one-on-one. Larry D, of course, the hard-hitting, body-slamming beast that he is, going one-on-one with AJ Gray, who AJ Gray loves to hit hard too, but he can also he's also quite athletic. So this is definitely a great match that you definitely want to check out. These two left it all in the ring. So when you get a chance, check out that one on Smart Mark or Powerbomb. And in your main event, we had JC Rotten challenging IWA Mid-South champion Mance Warner in a fans bring the weapon death match. That's right. These two beat the crap out of each other all over the IWA arena. This one got crazy. They beat each other with any and every weapon available. No one could get the better of the other. They were going back and forth, but the ending got quite wild. First and foremost, I'm not sure who, because my back was turned, but somebody had got me in the back, had barely hit me, and knocked me. I'm assuming somebody had stumbled into me. It was an accident, but kind of knocked me a little bit. It kind of hurt just a bit. I was trying to get myself together. Of course, it didn't knock me out or anything like that, but my back was turned for a quick second. I go to get up, turn around, and what do you know? Here comes Mance Warner charging full speed to the corner that I am in. Of course, that was a pretty scary sight to see. Sure enough, as soon as I got up, Mance ended up tackling me into said corner and squishing me in the corner. I fell back into some light tubes, and I was actually knocked out for a couple of minutes. It wasn't a good feeling. It hurt quite a bit. But it was an accident. I realized that. And of course, as fans bring the weapons, IWA Mid-South title, those are old school rules, so no disqualifications. So there's nothing I can do about it. But from what I was told after I was knocked out, IWA Mid-South owner Ian Rotten made his way into the ring and ended up smashing Mance over the head with a steel chair. With one of his world-famous chair shots. No one is quite sure what his reasoning was, but he tried to help his son get the victory. Mance was able to hang in there and kick out. Mance accidentally ended up hitting Ian with a light tube after JC ducked out of the way at one point. And as JC was checking on his father to make sure he was cool or all good, Mance ended up getting JC with a lariat and picking up the 1-2-3 victory. So Mance, after Thursday, is still your IWA Mid-South champion. Let's go right on into Saturday's show. Saturday was a stacked card, top to bottom, tons of talent, a couple of debuts. There was actually a few cancellations up in the Chicago area, which made it able for a few others to make it down to IWA. I myself was supposed to be a Black Label, but they had to cancel. So I went home to IWA. The show was titled Headed for Heartbreak, and your referees included myself and John Gray. Aspen Rose, the mermaid, made her debut at IWA in a losing effort to Amazing Maria. We also had appearances from Awesome Odyssey, Eric Wayne, Aaron Epic. So there's some few names to check out that were on the show on Saturday. Marco Stunt lost to Myron Reed in a very, very athletic contest. I definitely recommend checking this one out. They were all over the place, and Marco just couldn't hang in there. Myron ended up picking up the victory. We also had a hoss battle between Calvin Tankman and Frank Wyatt. Calvin Tankman ended up defeating Frank Wyatt, and I'm quite surprised that the ring was able to make it through this one because those two were, they were slamming each other hard against the mat, and I didn't think that the ring was going to be able to hold up, but sure enough it did. And then in your main event, Trey Miguel challenged Mance Warner for his IWA championship. Trey Miguel, of course, winning the six-man scramble to become the number one contender last week. This match was awesome. It was incredible. Trey, of course, known for his lucha style, tried to, use his high-flying aerial arsenal. But Mance was not having it. Not at all. He ended up damaging the leg and the ankle of Trey Miguel. And there was quite a few times that I thought that I was going to have to call the match because the screams that were coming out of Trey's mouth were not pleasing to hear whatsoever. But Trey insisted on going. He wanted to keep on going, so I didn't call it. And ultimately, he ended up losing to Mance. And so Mance hangs on to his IWA Mid-South title once again. Headed into next week, we got a couple of big shows that you definitely want to check out. And there's actually a few different ways you could check it out. On Thursday, IWA presents Heartbreak. And you can actually watch this show on Thursday from the comfort of your own home if you're not able to make it out to the IWA arena. And let me tell you how. If you log into powerbomb.tv right now and sign up, if you don't have an account, of course, you can get your first 20 days for free. And that will include this Thursday. So you can watch technically this Thursday for free. If you go to powerbomb.tv, sign up now and use code IWAMS. You'll get your first 20 days for free. Plus, you'll be helping us out. So please, definitely check that out. Or, of course, come on out to the IWA Mid-South Arena. There's a stacked card on Thursday. Your main event is Mance Warner, your champion Mance Warner, going one-on-one with Matt Riddle, former UFC star. So that's going to be a heck of a match. Plus Manny Fernandez, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Ace Romero versus Larry D. It's a stacked card, so definitely try and make it out to the IWA Mid-South Arena. But if you can't, hop on powerbomb.tv, use that code, get 20 days for free, and tune in. On Saturday, IWA presents Hardcore Heartbreak, which that one is going to be more oriented for the hardcore type fans. A couple of big debuts from some international deathmatch guys, including Violento Jack. Also, Arrow Boy will be making his return. So, and that's on Saturday at the IWA Mid-South Arena. So definitely stay tuned to IWA because they are killing it at the moment. Big shout out to Dave Dynasty. Appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. You can follow me on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram at official SPO502. And then also you can follow me on Facebook, Sean Patrick O'Brien. It's SEAN. It's the Irish way. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope to see you at a show.
You've heard him here on the Dave Dynasty Show as a guest and as host of the monthly Graham's Gallery episodes. And now you can hear his stories. You can own a copy of Confessions of a Big-Time Wrestler, the audio book from Dr. Jerry Graham Jr., former multi-tag team champion in WWA and owner of Bruiser Bedlam. You can hear all of his encounters with the various wrestlers, places, and promotions he's worked as he tells about his colorful, long, and illustrious career. You can have your own copy for only $25, and that includes shipping and handling. It's very simple. Go on Facebook, look up Jerry Jaffe, Jaffe, send him a private message, and make arrangements to purchase a copy of Confessions of a Big-Time Wrestler now. You will not regret this purchase.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and today we are joined by the man behind the Impact Star, Kongo Kong. We have Steve Wilson. How are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, absolutely wonderful. We finally have you on here. I had some issues last week with some technology, but we got it all fixed up, and we are ready to rock and roll. So let's just jump right into it. So first question, as always, where are you from, Steve?
I was born and raised in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Currently living in Fort Wayne, Indiana, actually.
Oh, okay, absolutely. I'm an Indiana native. I live in Muncie, so you're a hop, skip, and a jump away from me.
Okay.
But absolutely. What was your childhood like? Did you grow up in Grand Rapids, or when did you move to Indiana?
Yeah, I grew up in Grand Rapids, home of the Ridiculous Winners, because it's like 30 minutes away from Lake Michigan, so lake effect snow was like the way of life. As a matter of fact, I didn't get a canceled school day until my senior year. That's how used to the snow, I guess, we were, and just really didn't care, but we were going to school. And then I eventually moved down to Fort Wayne in the year 2000 to come to the University of St. Francis to play football. Taking a little break from wrestling to try to get my education and move forward that way.
No, right on. I guess kind of side note, what was it that made them give you a day off school? I'm kind of curious. Was it like 10 foot of snow or something?
Yeah, I think we had our leadership had just changed. We had gotten a new superintendent, and she was just a little more concerned about our safety, I guess, as far as like the busing and all that stuff.
So it almost wasn't even that it was snowing. It was just a change in power. That's crazy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I guess back on track here. Tell us your first memories of wrestling as a fan, because obviously any pro wrestler, I would assume, starts out as a fan. Some don't, but did you have any early memories?
Yeah, back when I was really young, like I'd probably like 3, maybe 4, I remember going to an arena that we had called the Stadium Arena in Grand Rapids, and I remember flashbacks from a picture actually of Road Warriors, Jake the Snake, and the Macho Man. I don't think it was a WWF event, but for whatever reason they were there at the show. And then after that, I remember being into Glow, actually, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, with my mom. We would sit up on Saturday nights, and instead of watching Saturday Night Live, we'd watch Glow. Then eventually, Hulk Hogan slammed Andre, and that's kind of what caught my attention to the WWF.
No, absolutely. Honestly, I think that's one of the biggest moments of wrestling history. So I think that caught just about everybody's attention.
Yeah, easily.
And so then, when was it though that you stopped being a fan and you said, "Well, I want this to be what I do"? When was it that wrestling hooked you and that you were like, "Let's do this"?
When I was 5, I knew, then that, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be Hulk Hogan. That's what my dad said. He said, since you're 5, you wanted to be Hulk Hogan. And I mean, in essence, I did. I wanted to be, the guy in the ring, the babyface champ, if you will, and, with the thousands and thousands of fans cheering for him.
No, absolutely. I think it's pretty much every wrestler's dream. But Hulk Hogan was one of those people. I remember when I was younger too, maybe as a relation here. When I was younger, when I would watch, because obviously I'm only like 22 years old, so I didn't get to grow up with like the Hulk Hogan. I grew up in like the 90s, so I was more of like the Attitude Era. So
yeah, you didn't have it as good as me.
Exactly. Well, I start doing the show and like, I talked to all these guys back from like the Bruiser era, like WWA and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I really missed out on the golden age of wrestling.
Oh yeah.
But, so then obviously, you've known from pretty much your entire life. You're like, I want to do this. So then when was it that you took the step to get trained, and who did you get trained by?
I actually had completed my first year of collegiate football at Saginaw Valley State University up in Saginaw, Michigan. And I had gone home for the summer, and I was at a video game store, and there was a poster on the wall for a local wrestling show. And at the bottom of it said, call this number if you want to be a pro wrestler. And so I called the number and tried to figure out what it was all about, and ended up checking out the show. And I remember going back for my second year, and I think I was there for a whole week, and I was like, this isn't for me. It's time to go. And so I went home, and I started off training with a company called Pro Wrestling Worldwide under a guy named Scott EZ. But he ended up getting canned for whatever reason, and then they brought in a guy by the name of Joe Ortega, who tells us that he was trained by Jose Lothario. So, and Jose Lothario is the guy that trained Shawn Michaels, I guess.
Yeah. Just a side
and
note.
So, yeah. So we, that company ended up shutting down, and Joe took it upon himself to open his own company called wrestling organization in Holland, Michigan, which is about 25 minutes away from where we were in Grand Rapids. And so I trained there for the next 2 years, and we did shows and, learned a lot about the business during that time.
No, absolutely. So then obviously, kind of, I guess, a time hooks you. You eventually do the training, and then you have your first match. So do you remember your first match?
Well, actually, my first match was a week into training when I was at Pro Wrestling Worldwide, because we had this guy who owned the company who thought that, I don't know, he knew everything. He decided that since we were paying for training, that we needed to be a part of the show that they were having. And he put me in a match with this guy named JT Freeze. And I remember JT Freeze calling Spear in the match. And Spear was Goldberg's big finisher, one of his big finishers at that time. And me, I was like, okay, I'll give you a Spear. Well, keep in mind, I had just left college football. So my idea of a Spear was a form tackle. So we get to the point in this match, and the match is just about over, thank God. And I hit him with the Spear, and I hit him as hard as I would have somebody on the field. And I just remember him laying there and could not breathe, and I thought he was dying. And I about went into a panic. I didn't know what to do because had no clue of how this really operated just yet. And so I was like, why is he about to die? And so, yeah, it was a learning situation, I guess, if you will. But it beat it out, so.
That's the best kind of first match when you learn a little something. That's really funny though. And like you hear about that too. Is it's like you get thrown like right into the fire, trial by fire, if you will, and you're just like, wasn't quite ready for that, but I did my best.
Right.
But kind of again, first match always, I don't think I've ever heard a story about someone who's like, yeah, my first match was like 100% awesome. It was the best thing I've ever done. But when you began working, yeah, that was under the name Osiris. Is that correct?
Yes, I was. The very first time I did anything was in a battle royal, and I'd gone by the Unknown Soldier because I did not have a clue as to what I wanted to do as far as the name, but eventually settled on Osiris because I wanted something that was one name and powerful. Most people know that, Vader is one of my big influences growing up. And, so just like going by Vader, like it always sounded like he was so much better than everybody else, I guess, with two names, and also guys like Sting and, anybody else at that time, I guess. I wanted something that was one word, powerful, and Afrocentric. So it kind of led me to the Egyptian gods, and then I would look at what each one stood for, and Osiris was the one that stood out, and I knew I could play with the spelling, and it's just a different kind of name, I guess.
No, I gotcha. Yeah, that's really cool though. I was a history major in college, so Egyptian studies was one of my favorite things to study. So I definitely feel you there. But yeah, then obviously you went from Osiris. You came from there and you went to Kongo Kong. How did you make that transition? And was there anything in between, or was it just Osiris to Kongo Kong?
Actually, what had happened was I wrestled for a company called Championship International Wrestling as Osiris, and I didn't hear back from the promoter. And when I went back, or I called him I tried to get in contact with him, he said, well, I don't really have anything for Osiris, but I have an idea for you if you want to try it. And it was the first time I had ever been told that, but at the same time, I knew I had to be willing to try new stuff. And he said, I want you to come up with a character, and you can come up with the name and all that stuff, but I want you to kind of be a cross between Umaga and Kamala, and I want you to, you know, make your hair wild and paint your face and, you know, the whole nine. And so I came up with Shamari, which was the early version of Kongo Kong. And he was more, I guess, the Kamala-like savage or whatever. And I did that for a couple years and started doing it in a couple places, and was trying to keep it under wraps because I really didn't like the idea of doing that one. But as long as it paid money, I was okay with it, and it paid good money. It paid better than Osiris because I knew, you know, if they want me to come do it, then they're gonna have to pay me because I don't like doing it. So, I did it, and eventually I went to work for a company called Elite Pro Wrestling in Chicago, and they hooked me up with Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And so I showed up to Juggalo Championship Wrestling for the first time, and we're in the meeting, and the guy's running through the match list, and he's telling us what we're doing, and he says, the tag team match is going to happen, yada, yada, yada. Then Kongo Kong comes out and kills everybody. And I'm looking around. I'm like, I know all these people in here, so Kongo Kong must not be here yet. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, that's your new name, by the way. You can use it wherever you want. And I'm looking like, what did I just walk into? The more I sat there, I guess, and thought about it, the more I was like, all right, well, whatever. Maybe I'll just do the Shamari thing since they like painted faces here. You know, I know Violent J is a big fan of it, obviously. And we'll see how this goes, and we'll be Kongo Kong here, because I'd figured that they'd just bring me in and use me as Osiris. And I knew somebody had said something about paint my face as that, but when they renamed me, it kind of solidified that, you know, I would be doing pretty much a different character. And so I was just like, well, it'd be a good time to try something different and try to see if I can get over this way.
Absolutely. And obviously it worked.
Yeah, begrudgingly. Like I said, I was not and am not a huge fan of the stereotypical gimmicks that, you know, were placed on black people. And I mean, I guess realistically, any kind of minority type race. I just think that, you know, it's kind of played out, you know, and I feel like if Tom over here can be, you know, straight-laced babyface, white meat babyface, you know, American hero, then why can't I? But at the same time, you know, it's just kind of like, hey, this is paying you a lot of money. What you can do is figure out a way to make this work for you. So, you know, that's eventually what I ended up trying to do was to get away from being that same exact character.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's actually something I've always felt, is that unfortunately the professional wrestling as a whole, and I mean, you can kind of go back there and you can see all the characters. I mean, it's unfortunate, especially, I mean, I guess you could say it's died down a little bit, but it's a hotbed for that kind of, I guess you could say, that what is that? The characterization, I guess, of anybody. I mean, it's honestly, it's awful, but, you know, like you said, I mean, people do it because it pays money. And I guess, you know, since it is a business, that's a business mindset, right? But
exactly,
that's actually a very good thought, and I don't think people talk about it enough, and I'm actually very glad that you brought that up, something I think about a lot. Anyways, before we start diving into that, something I always like to focus on is, you know, the kind of wrestler that you are. And I mean, you're a very unique style. You're a hybrid of power and speed. And I mean, I've seen you wrestle before, and it's incredible. I mean, your wrestling speaks for itself. But how did you come up, and how did you make that versatile style of wrestling work for you?
I've always been I guess, well, I've been a big, strong guy, so obvious, that was there.
Yeah.
But I've always been a fan of the cruiserweights as well, so to be able to incorporate certain things that they did, and use my athletic ability, to me seemed more appealing than just me going out and throwing choke slams and big boots and, things of that nature like most other big men do. And I guess just over the years, running into people and seeing what they do and how they handle certain situations, certain moves that they do or whatever, just kind of helped me shape who I am, I guess. I think I would say that I'm less about power now and more about, it would be kind of it's hard to describe really, because I use my body a lot, as my weapon, as opposed to, just tossing people around or strikes or, any sort of grappling or anything like that. I've come to the realization that, as I'm growing older, I have to do things to try to keep myself healthy. So I had to drop some weight, and I ended up actually dropping just over 100 pounds. And in doing that, I lost a lot of strength as well, but I was able to keep some of my agility. Yeah. And so, just trying to come up with ways to make things look cool, make them different, and keep them safe for everybody. That was the big thing, and that's kind of, I guess, what has gotten me to where I am now.
Absolutely. And like you said, it is a unique style. I mean, like you said, it's hard to describe it. Like I said, it definitely speaks for itself when you're in the ring and people see you performing. I can attest to that. I very, very greatly. I can't remember what it was, but I remember me and Dave were sitting around and we were talking about different wrestlers, and we were thinking about different styles of wrestling, and it's just incredible. I just gotta say it's incredible. But yeah. Anyways, so you've literally worked. I mean, we talked about in the very beginning that you currently work with Impact, but beyond that, you've worked for pretty much every major company in the Midwest and outside of the Midwest. I mean, you've worked quite a bit of places. But what are some of the highlights you look back as you established yourself as you were kind of growing?
Well, my first ever tour outside of the United States. My first booking outside of the United States was in Canada, and it was for Border City Wrestling. God, what is the name of the school? Can-Am something. Can-Am Rising was the name of the school's promotion. They brought me in and I did a match there, and then that kind of led to me going to Newfoundland for a week with Legend City Wrestling, and that was some of the more fun, I guess, trips I've had or whatever. Getting to know people from a different part of the world, essentially, because Newfoundland is its own island off the east coast of Canada. So, they weren't the typical Canadians, I guess. It was a different experience. It was a lot of like Irish and Scottish influence and a whole different culture up there, it seemed. But just going up there and being up there and meeting the people up there, it was awesome. Then eventually I got to go to China. I did a mixed tag wrestling match. It was myself and Big Bang Ronnie Nicole versus Chelsea Diamond and Damon Devine. And we main evented an MMA show in China, which was the craziest thing ever, but it had to be that way because they were supposed to be changing the setting on the ring because it was stiff as a board for the MMA show, and they were supposed to make it lighter for us, so they put us last in order to keep from having to alter it during the show. Although I don't really think that they changed much because it sucked either way. Probably the worst bump I've ever taken in my life was in that ring. But yeah, just getting to go places and do things, and I got my first airplane experience through pro wrestling. To this day, I think I've paid for one ticket for myself, and that was to go do my Impact tryout.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy to think about, but yeah, it's like you're like, oh, I've only ever paid for one plane ticket, and I'm like thinking to myself, yeah, I have to pay for all my plane tickets. one of the small things, right? So I mean, traveling is like one of the best parts I think about independent wrestling and pro wrestling in general. It's like, because pro wrestling is the international language, I feel like. Everywhere you go, there's some kind of following for it. And China is really interesting because, I mean, taking into consideration what China is and like their culture and their politics, you know, it's weird to think about, you know, that they're going to let people in, and then weirdly enough that they're going to do it after an MMA show, which seems weird to me, but I think I understand.
Right.
But in general, you know, like you said, I mean, you've done quite a bit, you've traveled quite a bit, but you're also part of one of the, I guess you could say, I think, best cultures in the world, which is independent wrestling. And independent wrestling is really hot right now. It's incredibly just explosive. But in your opinion, what's the worst and best part about being a part of independent wrestling?
The worst part would be no insurance. And then also, you know, having the uncertainty of your income at this point. You know, it's kind of hard to rely on people. Fortunately, I've not had too much of an issue with people, but like, you know, depending on them to make sure that they have their ducks in a row, to keep your ducks in a row, can be tricky at times. But yeah, that like the idea that if you get hurt, you're out. You know what I'm saying? And if this is your full-time job, then what do you have to fall back on? You know, fortunately, I make wrestling gear, so I can you know, turn that up if I need to, you know, and survive off of it, I believe. But yeah, like that, to me, that's probably one of the worst things is, you know, my fear of getting hurt. You know, it doesn't change how I approach each match, I guess. You know, I don't go out and do anything reckless or dangerous or anything that I'm pretty sure I could get hurt at. But, you know, there's still that fear that, you know, you always hear about it. It's always the thing that you've done a million times that people get hurt on.
No, absolutely.
And was that a two-part question?
Yeah, the other one was the good part.
The good part. It's the freedom. It's you know, being that I don't have a regular job, I don't have to get up and punch anybody's clock.
Yep.
Excuse me. Like I said, I make gear, so I get up and I work on that and do that as long as I want to. If I have an appointment, if I have something, I don't have to call anybody and try to make arrangements to be there. You know, and really just that, and then traveling, you know, pretty much the world, getting to meet people and see things, and a lot of times it's not for very long. It's just kind of a anything, but just to be able to say I've been there and I've done that has been, you know, absolutely amazing. You know, just watching your effect, I guess, on people and how they see you, and especially the kids. I love the part where the little kid is terrified during my match, but when I'm standing at the table selling merch, he'll walk up to me and he's looking at me, and I'll give him a look, and like next thing I know, we're best buds, you know, just because he thinks it's so cool that I wear face paint and I do some of the stuff that I do. And like that makes my day, you know, it makes this worthwhile, you know, along with the money and everything else that comes with it. But, yeah, just being able to reach people and see the effect that you have on people, because I believe that is what this is about. And I always tell young guys, like if it's a seminar or they're my trainees or anything, I tell them that this is pretty much a ministry. This is not it's not about religion. It's not about doctrine, but you're teaching people about the power of good to overcome evil. You're teaching them that, you know, if I can endure this adversity, then you can endure the adversity that you're going through in your day. You never know who you're reaching or who you're touching, and you know how you can change the course of their life just by the story that you tell in the ring. And it's amazing. Like, you know, I hear people come up to me and they say stuff, crazy stuff, like I would never expect to hear from somebody. A girl came up to me and she said, you know, you give me life. And I was like, wow. So I have absolutely no idea what that means, but I accept that. That is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what exactly she meant by that, but in my mind, I'm thinking it's something where I helped her get through a situation and it made it easier for her to deal with something, or made it better for her to deal with something. And I'm okay with that. I accept that. I realize that in my Hulk Hogan-esque position, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm supposed to do.
I mean, it comes full circle, right? But it's
Absolutely.
true. It's true. I mean, and I think, you know, wrestling is like a lot of things. It's an outlet. It's an escape, if you will, from the day to day. You know, the mundane. It's quite an amazing thing. And you're right. It's you know, I definitely can attest that, you know, sometimes you be watching wrestling or you go to a show and it's just like, you know, you don't worry about anything. You don't. And that's 100% true. I mean, you're preaching a message, you're ministering, you know, like you said, it's a really good way of saying it. I really like that. But sorry, real quick note, you mentioned your gear company. I wanted to give you a second here because I want to hear about the gear company. So can you tell us about your wrestling gear company, where we can get your gear?
Oh yeah, since 2007, I've been making wrestling gear, trying to anyway. And it's awesome because I still see stuff from 2007 being worn that I made. So, but yeah, you can contact me on Facebook, or you can contact me through email at osiris78@gmail.com. On Facebook, it's Steve Wilson, or I actually have a page for Juggernaut Gear by Osiris, or Kongo Kong, that fan page. Also, there's Twitter, which is at Real Kongo Kong. There's Instagram, which is Kong Osiris78. Yeah, however you get a hold of me, if you need something, let me know. If I can help you, I absolutely be more than glad to. You know, good work takes time, so as long as you're a little patient, you know, then we can get through it.
That's right. So you need gear, you know where to go. So as we're kind of winding down here, you know, we only got a couple more things to talk about, but you know, the last thing I want to kind of talk to you about is, you know, kind of the culmination. You know, obviously, I feel like you still have quite a bit of time in the wrestling industry. You still have some, you know, you still have more walls to break through and more things to succeed at. But you know, right now you're kind of at a peak point. You're wrestling with Impact, and I really just wanted to talk to you about that before I let you go today, just to kind of see how you got there and how you made your way into a company like Impact.
Well, you guys have Abyss to thank for that. There's a lot of people who would like to take credit for my success, but honestly, it was me putting in the work, and then there are certain people along the way that gave me opportunities that allowed me to showcase and be seen. So realistically, aside from Abyss, there's Scott Demore, who gave me a platform at BCW to be seen. He also introduced me to Jeff Jarrett, who also gave me another platform to be seen. Then there's, different promoters around the area that thought it'd be a great idea to see Kongo Kong versus Abyss or Kongo Kong tag with Abyss, which allowed Abyss to get kind of an up close and personal viewing of me. And then he just said to me, he says, hey, you need to be seen. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get you an Impact and, at least get you a tryout and get you down there. That way you can get in front of people. And if they like you, which I'm sure they will, figure out something for you. And so, being that I was already, 17 years into the business at that point, I took it with a grain of salt, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's awesome. I hope something works out. But at best, I'm going to keep plugging and doing what I'm doing. And if something happens, cool. If not, then I'll go till I can't go no more. And fortunately, something did happen. He called me and he says, hey, I got some news. This is January of last year. We want you to come down for a tryout match for 2 days. And he said it'd actually be a dark match, which would be in front of the boys and the producers, and then another match, which would probably be for our Explosion, a syndicated show that goes to 80 countries around the world. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. Okay. And he gave me the details, told me I needed to fly myself in. And he said, don't worry about hotel or anything. You can stay with me. And we'll get it worked out. And I was like, beautiful. That's all I need is, some opportunity, somebody to give me a chance. And so I went down and things got juggled around, and I ended up having my Explosion match the first night that I was there. And then the dark match was supposed to come the next day, but ended up getting scrapped because that was when they were filming the wedding of Braxton Sutter and Laurel Van Ness. But, they told me, he said, well, we won't have time because we have to block out this wedding. He said, but I'm pretty sure, they liked you. So, I wouldn't worry about anything. So I went to John Gabork, who was in charge at that point, and I thanked him for allowing me the opportunity to come in. And he said, yeah, we're not going to do your dark match today, but don't worry, we want you back in March, and we want to put you into a storyline. And I was like, wow, that's what I was hoping for. I appreciate it, and kind of held my composure while I was talking to him and walked away a little bit and, called my mom and my dad and teared up a couple times and, just like all this time, everything I've been working for is finally, coming to fruition.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Great. That's a really good story. I mean, almost had me teared up for a second. Well, you know what? We're just going to end it on that because there's nothing that can be said that can top that. That's awesome. But look, I really want to thank you for coming on here, for talking to us today. Talking about your, everything, your career, your hopes, your dreams. I mean, it's been an honor and it's been a pleasure to speak with you today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate any time, somebody wants to give me a platform to divulge, what goes into, the character of Kongo Kong. A lot of people like to dismiss him. Oh, he's just this, and he's just that, and they don't understand the backstory. And I hope that, with me being able to tell the backstory, then they can see where I might be a little different than what they might have originally thought, and hopefully, grab hope.
Come crack open a cold one and let Old Manser tell you a story.
King of Big Dog Style, Larriton Light Beer, the king of the trailer court, your favorite wrestler of mine, me.
This is Warner's Wisdom with Mance Warner.
All right, people, here we go. Red light on. Old Messer checking in again right here. It's Old Messer. Knee pad up, knee pad down. Dramatic pause, dramatic pause, dramatic pause. The Southern Psycho, king of the trailer court. Big doggy, Mr. No Knee Pads Needed. Oh, wackadoo, Larrington Light Beer. The Southern Psycho, Old Messer himself right here again on the Dave Dynasty Show. The best part of the Dave Dynasty Show. Old Messer, baby. Larrington Light Beer, Southern Psycho, king of the trailer court. You know all the nicknames. Old Messer out here. Here we go. Another edition of Warner Wisdom right here now. On this week, I'm going to give you a rundown the last couple of weeks and the weekend coming up for Old Messer. So here we go. I'm going to crack a couple of light beers. Y'all can crack them open too. Just don't be drinking and driving. Be safe out there. Old Messer going to talk to you real quick. Here we go. Now, first thing first. Couple weekends ago, IWA Mid-South, Guardians of Hardcore, J.C. Rotten and Old Messer tore the house down. We almost literally burned the Memphis flea market down to the ground, baby. Here what went down. Old Messer, J.C. starting to match up, swinging weaponry all over the place because the fans brought some weapons. They threw it in there. We went to Funky Town. Old Messer swung some light tubes. At the same time, Old Messer swinging these light tubes, JC swinging. It was almost an umbrella made. It was just thick wood right there, right? It was a baseball bat pretty much. We just gonna call it like it is. It's a damn wooden baseball bat. Hit Old Messer right over the top of the head, baby. Spit Old Messer, split him wide open. As soon as I got hit, I saw nothing but white. I dropped to a knee. I wouldn't go for knee pad up, knee pad down. I was going just to catch myself. Old Messer hits the ground, head split wide open. About 2 or 3 minutes go by, and Old Messer and JC out there beating the shit out of each other. I look up, JC swinging a light tube that is on fire. It was a bundle of light tubes at the end. I guess they were soaked in some sort of lighter fluid or kerosene or some sort. I don't know what it was, man. Hit Old Messer over the head. At the time, Old Messer was rocking this beautiful silver hair. You know, a little bit of salt and pepper in there. Old Messer gets hit exactly on that spot that was busted wide open. Y'all ever see that movie back in the day, back in the mid-'80s? Hold on, Helen. My cat's going wild over here. Get off that. Jesus Christ, Mike. Don't you come at me like that. Okay, here we go. Old Messer got hit over the head with that light tube. It reminded Old Messer of the zombie movie. They're underground. They're out in Florida, I believe. Not Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead, right? Old boy gets bit on the arm. They cut his arm off, and then they burn it. That's essentially what happened to Old Messer's head. My head was cut wide open. I got hit with them light tubes. My hair caught on fire. By the DVD, you see it. My hair's on fire. It burnt the damn hole that was wide open in my head shut. Old Messer running around Memphis Flea Market with his head on fire. That comes into play down the road. Follow me here on Old Messer's Warner Wisdom here. I'm going to grab me a light beer while we're out here talking. So, Old Messer gets hit over the head. I come back and old JC hit him with a Big Daddy Cool Jackknife powerbomb through a light tube table. End up hitting knee pad up, knee pad down, getting a W. Going on to next week. Helen, Jesus Christ almighty, my cat's just over knocking everything over. Okay. Don't you start that bullshit. Now, Old Messer proceeds to go into the next week in a triple threat matchup. Old Messer wins the IWA Mid-South World Heavyweight Champion, baby. Right here, you talking to him, Old Messer. Now, this coming weekend, let me get to it. You hearing this shit? She's just knocking everything over. This is why Old Messer drinks so much now. I got this damn cat running wild in here, just knocking things over. Always trying to get his TV time, trying to get his time on the podcast. Okay, here we go. This coming weekend, Old Messer going to be all over the place. Little Old Messer tell you real quick on here. Boom, find a date right here. IWA Thursday night. JC Rotten, Old Master stepping in the ring, Memphis Flea Market, title is on the line, and the fans bring the weapon. That means all the fans out there can bring whatever weapon they want to bring to Memphis, Indiana at the Flea Market, IWA Arena. And JC and Old Master are going to tear the house down. Once again, Old Master ain't losing that title, baby. I don't care what anyone says. I take the IWA Mid-South Heavyweight Championship with me wherever Old Master goes. I will defend it against anybody. Ain't a soul gonna take it off me. Okay, I gotta loosen up here. I'm trying to have a good time right now. I ain't trying to lose my mind, go out there and get in a fight, get arrested, end up locked up for a night, and then okay, here we go. That's Thursday night, IWA. Write that down on that calendar. Pay attention. This is the wisdom Old Master giving you right here. Friday night, down in Indianapolis, Indiana, Old Master hitting up WCWO. Here's the deal out there. This company's been around for a long time. They revamping it. They're doing things a little different out there at WCWO. Indianapolis, Indiana. On that night, they starting up a tournament to crown the territorial champion. Now, Old Master one of the last guys that were in the territories, baby. The last. So Old Master is throwing his name in the hat in this tournament. It's round one on Friday night. Old Master ain't getting beat there either, baby. Old Master gonna be collecting all the titles going into Saturday night. So keep it rolling. I can keep y'all here too long. Black Label Pro. Black Label Pro, Old Master stepping in the ring with Gary J. Y'all people have asked for this match before. I seen it on the Twitter. I seen it on the Facebook. I seen people posting on Instagram. They want to see Gary J and Old Master getting there. It's going to happen on Saturday night, y'all. Crown Point, Indiana, Black Label Pro. Save that money up, spend that money on Saturday night. Because you are going to see Gary J and Old Master tear the house down, steal the show. Ain't no one going to top us. That's just the way it is. I don't care who mad about it. The crowd's going to love it. It's going to be, I'm telling you right now, I guarantee it. Old Master guarantees it. On that night, we still in the show. Ain't no one going to top us. Now, I can also guarantee that Old Master going to have 8x10s for sale. And Old Master going to have them beautiful t-shirts, baby. Lariats and Light Beer. Old Master going to have every t-shirt on sale that night. So you come out there, spend that money. And you can also go to ProWrestlingTees.com, baby. That's called a segue. I'm good at this on the podcast now. Called a segue. Get on there, ProWrestlingTees.com. Buy Old Master t-shirt, Lariats and Light Beer. You can purchase it right now. Old Master going to get off there. I'm going to keep it short and simple. I'm about 8 minutes now. I don't need to be on here much longer. I'm going to drink these light beers. I'm going to cut some more promos tonight. I'm going to throw them on the Facebook, the Instagram, all over the place. Now, y'all, listen to Old Master. The wisdom I'm giving you this week. Don't play with fire. You burn your head off. Unless you get bit by a zombie, you got to cut your arm off and then burn it, cauterize it, as they say. Old Master read a couple medical books once in a while. You know how it is. Now, be safe out there. Drink them light beers. Save that money so on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can see Old Master at IWA Mid-South, WCWO. No, I didn't say WCW. Old Master can't go back there because it's gone, baby. WCW is dead. Old Master's on the booking committee out there, and Old Master was out there for a long, long time. Ain't no more it's gone unless they do a reunion show, and then Vinnie Mac gonna have to call Old Master back. Well, let's not get into that. I'll talk about that another time. I'm giving away all the good free shoot interview stuff on these podcasts. Now, like, share, get on Instagram, Twitter, all the Facebook, SoundCloud. Old Master gonna get off here, drink these light beers, be safe out there. Hell, get off me. This cat's just driving me up a wall. Okay, Old Master will get off here. Y'all be safe. Have a good night. See y'all next week. Once again, Old Master wisdom. Don't play with fire. You burn your head off. Only play with the fire if you get bit by a zombie and you got to burn off a bite wound or something like that, right? Okay, see y'all next week.
And welcome back. I am Dave Dynasty. This is the Dave Dynasty Show. And here we are. We're going to bring it full circle. We're going to wrap it all up. Special thanks to Referee Man Bun. Mance Warner, and Kongo Kong for helping out today. Thanks for Ox Baker for providing that classic audio that we were able to revisit and enjoy and look back upon. When you're out there surfing the old internet, doing your thing, make sure you check out DaveDynasty.com. From there, you can find links to all of our social media. Please visit all those. Follow us, like us, subscribe to us, etc., etc. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. Of course, we're on YouTube, so subscribe to us there. Check out all of our things that we post up there. And then also, you can visit, there's links there, for Patreon, PayPal. And then you can also visit our Pro Wrestling Tee store. Buy a shirt, probably the greatest way to support us. And like I mentioned before, if you want to make a monthly ongoing contribution to the show, anything helps, even if it's just a couple bucks, helps keep the production costs, cover the production costs, helps keep the show free. Patreon.com/The Dave Dynasty. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, again, anything helps. We would appreciate that. That is paypal.me/The Dave Dynasty. And, while you're also there, you can visit our Amazon.com and highspots.com links if you're going to do shopping there. No additional charge to you. We get a little kickback. We appreciate your support in all those avenues, whether it be buying a shirt, making a contribution, using the Amazon or Highspots link, or if you're just out there on our social media supporting us and sharing us. Thank you for joining us however you do. We're on all the platforms, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, all those. And of course, we're on iTunes. If you are an iTunes user, please go out there. Leave us a 5-star review and, rating and review. There we go. I knew I'd get it right. That does help us, in our exposure on iTunes. So please go out there and do that. Oh, man. And, while you visit DaveDynasty.com, if you look at the bottom of the main page there, I've also added some links to, some of our favorite Midwest wrestling promotions, that we like to support here on the show. It is by no means all of them, of course. There's not room. I can't add everything, but some of our favorites, some of the highlights that we think you should check out if you do not already. But make sure you visit those guys, buy a DVD, subscribe to their streaming services, buy a shirt. And if you're in the area, go to the shows. That's right. That's what it's all about. Let's get out there, support Midwest Indie Wrestling, and help spread the word of the Midwest Express. We got a great show next week, an interview with Donnie Tsunami, who will be talking about the return of Infinity Pro Wrestling, rising from the ashes, this time in Lafayette, Indiana. So we'll talk all about that. We will be joined again with referee Man Bun and Mance Warner, as we are every week. And we will also be starting a new segment, a kind of a what happened to type deal, right? For a kind of a forgotten name almost in the annuals of Midwest Wrestling. Well, we'll just take a brief thing. We'll touch base with these guys. Not really a full-blown interview, just a, hey, give us a little background and what are you doing now? And I think next week we're going to be joined, kicked off by Lightning Rod. Anybody remember that guy? I remember that guy. I saw him on lots of shows in the Midwest, here in Indiana, PWI and everything else. Did some work for WWE, and everything. Great guy, great talent. And so we're going to talk to him a little bit in our Whatever Happened To segment. So tune in next week. We will be back next week. You have my word. Until then, thank you for joining us. Be good, be safe, be independent, and keep on growing. Thank you.